Happy Friday. Hopefully you had a great holiday break. Long time no see. In case you forgot, this is I Could Be Wrong Sports. I'm Brad. That's Justin and Jason. And we are here to talk week 15 or week 16 takeaways and preview a few week 17 games. So good to see you fellas. Like I said, long time no see. So good to see you and hopefully you're
Good to
ready
see
to
you.
talk some football.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. I know everybody's got some things to do after this, so we'll hop into it. Let's start with the games that took place not only just last yesterday, but last week as well, since we didn't get together last week. What are some of you guys? Let's start with Justin. What are some of your takeaways from the week 16 action and then the three games that were played yesterday?
Well, one of the takeaways, of course, was from the Saturday's games, Week 16, Bears Packers. Bears come away with a big win there. They're now playing for first place, um, and they have another big match coming up, which we'll talk about. Um, Packers come out a little bit more banged up out of that game. Jordan Love now is going to miss this week's game, Week 17 game. Crucial game for those guys, given the fact that they still could win their division. Um, Bills narrowly escaping with the W against the Browns, but they got it done. Like to see a little bit more out of those guys. But one thing that really surprised me was just how, I guess maybe it doesn't really surprise me if I really think about it, how awful the Chiefs looked against the Titans. That's what surprises me the most. Like I kind of expected the Chiefs to come out and not look great, sans Patrick Mahomes. And but it just to me looked like there was zero effort.
Yeah.
And against one of the literally the worst teams in the league, fully healthy, the Titans, they got blown out 26-9. Um, of course, just some really good action in the Broncos Jags game. Jaguars proven that they're a legit contender, beating a good Broncos team. But I think actually what stood out to me most in that game was Denver defense. Last couple weeks in a row, actually, Denver defense hasn't played well. They've been giving up a lot of points. And I think what you're seeing is when Denver's defense struggles, maybe Bo Nix's flaws show a little bit more in those scenarios. So he had a pretty low passer rating in this one. But I
Okay.
could go on and on, but I'll leave some of the games for you guys,
All
including
right.
the three that have already won this week.
All right. All right. Let's kick it over to Jason. Any reactions to Justin's takeaways and your own takeaways?
I just wanted to, yeah, that Jacksonville game. Definitely, I mean, it's kind of spot on. I really believe that when that defense struggles, that Nick's kind of his flaws show. They really do. So I'm with him on that. But Trevor Lawrence is in Jacksonville offense. I mean, they scored 6 out of 7 possessions. I mean, that's something to be said after 6 straight wins. By the Jacksonville offense. I mean, they've been putting it together.
Yeah.
I mean, how many games did he have with 4 touchdowns or more? Quite a few during those 6 game win streak. So I think a lot of credit's got to go to Trevor Lawrence. But some of my biggest takeaways from this week were the Bills. I don't think the Bills are playoff ready. Allen had 130 yards passing, and it's only 17 yards rushing that whole game. So it was kind of what I say is almost breathtaking in a bad way. To watch that team struggle like they did. Uh, Another takeaway I noticed is, hey, maybe the Saints found their quarterback of the future. Tyler Shaw, he put on a show. The guy could play. They scored 7 out of 11 possessions. And he's got 3 straight wins. So they might have found, the quarterback of the future. I don't think they'll be looking for a quarterback in this draft. That's for sure. I mean, he's a rookie this year, so he's an old rookie, but he's a rookie. Nonetheless. So he's got a
Right.
lot of time to improve. Another thing is, gosh, I must say that I think there's some promise in the future here. I don't want to say next season as a Raiders fan, but I think there's some promise in the future. Ashton Genty, 60 yards receiving, touchdown, 51-yard rushing touchdown on a draw. I mean, we might have the Raiders version of C-Mac. But honestly, I mean, he's showing a lot of promise. And then Drake May, gosh, he might be the MVP. He's incredible. And maybe New England found their next Tom Brady. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking too early on him, but they may have found their quarterback of the future. Really, with him, he's showing it this year. He may take the MVP trophy home. The kid can ball. So some of my biggest takeaways were really those few things there.
Yeah, I like it. I like Drake May. I think that New England has found their quarterback of the future. So whether he wins the MVP or not is yet to be seen. I think Matt Stafford still slightly ahead of him, I would say, only because it's a quarterback award. Otherwise, I would say Christian McCaffrey is the MVP, in my opinion. I think he's going to win the Offensive Player of the Year. Um, I liked you guys the Jacksonville call out. I actually picked Jacksonville to win the game. I thought that felt like they were playing really well. It showed up against a really tough defense on the road, so it was a really solid win for Jacksonville. Kind of put the rest of the AFC on notice, like, hey, we're not going to be an easy out. So be prepared to come points. Expect a shootout if you play Jacksonville. In
Yep.
Jacksonville, we talked about it early in the year. Um, they're really good when their team is able to create turnovers. And they were really, I think they're second in the league in turnovers so far this year. So when their defense is rolling, then it's they're really good. So they're going to be a tough team to beat in the AFC. I disagree with Jason's assessment that Buffalo's not playoff ready. I think Buffalo is absolutely playoff ready. Um, they're just one of those veteran teams that just finds a way to win. I think they're going to be there in the end. Whether they make it to the Super Bowl or not, I don't know. But I think that they'll be, again, a tough out, and they're going to be a team that everybody is going to be leery of just because of their experience and the fact that with no Mahomes and most likely, we'll talk about it, but most likely no Lamar and no Baltimore. And it kind of feels like if Buffalo doesn't get it done this year, they're probably never going to get done with the regime that they have. I'm not saying not with Josh Allen, I'm saying with the coaching staff and everything that they have. The other thing I took away from week 16, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but man, is football not the most exciting fucking sport on earth? There were some amazing endings to games in week 16, starting with the Seahawks and Rams game, where it looked like the Seahawks were dead in the water. And then thank goodness that the referees got replay assist and somebody got in their ear. Thank goodness for 49ers fans, anyways. That somebody got in their ear and said, hey, that wasn't a fumble, that was a backwards pass. So the rule means if the ball is recovered in the end zone, it's 2-point conversion and not incomplete pass or whatever they tried to call it at first. And that flipped everything. And then Seattle obviously went on to win the game in overtime. Um,
That's
I
pretty wild.
still think that it was a wild ending. And then obviously we had some other crazy endings. The Bears-Packers game still was pretty close, even after Jordan Love went out. Then you had the Bucks and Panthers came down to the end. Ravens and Patriots was a close one. A lot of the Lions and Steelers game, the way that one ended was pretty wild as well. It looked like the Lions had it in the bag down there at the goal line, and then again, crazy rules, crazy plays happen. Next thing you know, the team that looked like they were going to win doesn't win. And then the Lions obviously went on to lose yesterday and are eliminated from the playoffs. So that was my other takeaway. I I'm so far I'm half right about the Lions. I said they'd have a losing record. If they lose next week, then I'll be right that they have a losing record and they missed the playoffs. But I'm going to take it as a win. I was right; they missed the playoffs. I think it just shows that their coordinators were more valuable than everybody thought. They have a great roster. They're super talented from top to bottom.
Well,
But
yeah,
it was on the show this morning. It was said Dan Campbell has the same plays as they had last year. He just doesn't know when to call them at the right time, like Ben Johnson did. And that's the
right.
biggest difference for Detroit. So those are some of my biggest takeaways. Obviously, unfortunately for Kansas City, Mahomes went down. I think we talked about that previously. And then the following week, their backup quarterback went down. So welcome to the 49ers world, Chiefs fans. That's what we've been living forever. We lost 4 quarterbacks in one season and still almost made it to the Super Bowl. So we don't want to hear any fucking crying. Anyways, uh, Jason, I don't know if you saw or not. We're gonna take a real quick detour from what I texted, guys. Just recently, earlier, a couple hours ago, I believe, there was some reports coming out that the Raiders want to shut Max Crosby down for the rest of the season. Max Crosby obviously is a competitor and is like, nah, I'm not good with that. Some back and forth happened, and there's some reports that he left the building. Now that's kind of where it ended. There's no saying whether he left the building saying, "All right, I'm done." He left the building saying, "No, I'm coming back and I'm playing this weekend." So I'm with you being the Raiders fan. Have you heard anything about that today? And if so, what can you tell us, if anything?
I honestly heard that he left the building. I heard the same thing you heard. Nothing really came out, but my prediction, I'm just kind of watching him closely and being a fan of his career in general, not just a Raiders fan, is that he probably left the building texting Mark Davis like, "You get these guys out of here, or I'm leaving, or trade me." You know, I think he wants a new front office
Yeah.
already. You don't want to be sitting. That's the only guy I know that gets pissed off that he has to get PTO. You know, you know, he's one hell of a
That's
player.
funny.
And I think any team would be lucky. But I'll tell you right now, Howie Roseman was probably on the phone with Mark Davis as soon as he walked out the building, you know, trying to see if he's available.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they'll get phone calls. Yeah, I think it's interesting that they and I think also you got to think about it from his aspect, right? How close is he maybe to some incentives in his contract? And are they going to like pay him out, or are they like, nah, we're gonna sit you because we don't want you to get hurt, but he's at the same time like, well, I got like a couple million on the line if I get another sack or two or whatever,
Right.
right? Or maybe a playing time bonus or something. So it's just interesting. Especially with Tom Brady being involved, you would think that Tom Brady would understand that the best players want to play no matter what their team's record is. So, especially a competitor like that. So, all right, I just wanted to see if you had heard anything about that. All right, let's jump over real quick. As we know, the playoffs are pretty much set except for 2 playoff spots. We got 2 division races that need to be decided, both one in the AFC North and then one in the NFC South. So, real quick, let's start with the AFC. We'll start with Jason. AFC North, who do you think wins the AFC North? Does Pittsburgh wrap it up, or does Baltimore come back and win the division in Week 18?
I'll tell you, because Baltimore more than likely is going to be without Lamar, more than likely. I say Steelers wrap it up. They take that division.
Okay. Yeah. Justin, you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Steelers win the division. Rodgers playing well right now. Offense is playing a lot better. Statistically, Thielen. I remember a couple weeks ago when the Steelers acquired Thielen, I said he was going to make an immediate impact, and statistically he hasn't, but he's made an impact on the field. I've heard his name called a few times actually.
Yeah.
He's a good guy to have on the field, when you're looking to do those pick plays, things like that, like a good veteran player. And so yeah, I think it makes a difference, and it's shown where the Steelers won what, 4 in a row now?
I believe 3 or 4 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think the Steelers win maybe by default more than anything. Jason called it out. I don't think Lamar's playing tomorrow. And even though Green Bay might be without their quarterback as well, I think that Green Bay's probably got the edge even in that scenario with 2 backups playing. So and then if it
I
goes to Week 18, let's say Pittsburgh loses tomorrow and Baltimore wins or whatever the case may be, and it comes down to Week 18. I just think Pittsburgh, like Justin said, Rodgers is playing better right now, and I'm going to trust him to beat Baltimore in Week 18. So yeah, I'm going with Pittsburgh as well.
that brings me to my question here. Has Lamar played his last game as a Raven?
I don't think so. I think John Harbaugh might be about to coach his last game as coach of the Ravens. I think there might be a mutual split there, but and that's unlikely as well. But I think of the two, it's more likely John Harbaugh leaves than Lamar Jackson, in my opinion.
I
Yeah, I don't
agree.
think Lamar's played his last game there.
I don't think
But
so.
hey, you know the name of the show. It's right above your head. I could be wrong.
I know if I was ready for an office, I'd trade a first round pick for him.
Hey, I can tell you this. I'm gonna. I've been saying it since like week 2. Whenever you heard us tell, there's one quarterback in the AFC North that should be never play another game for his team, and that's Joe Burrow. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I've been saying it all season long, and I think again, I said it earlier this year. I think the Bengals should feel the same way and be like, "Yo, we're good." Like, well, obviously you can't stay healthy here. You sound like you're not having fun. You don't want to have fun. We could get a king's ransom for you at your prime right now. Shit. I'm doing it. I'm pulling the trigger if I'm the Bengals and starting over. Like, you're not winning with the dude. What difference does it make?
It's one of those, it's not you,
Uh,
it's me breakups that needs to happen.
yep, on both sides. On both
Yep.
sides. Both of them are just walk in and go, it's not me, it's you, and just leave. That's
For
funny.
real.
All right. All right. Let's jump over to the NFC. We'll start with Justin on this one. NFC South. We got Tampa and Carolina. Only playoff spot left to be determined. And obviously they play again. They play in week 18 as well. If it comes down to that, who do you have winning the NFC South?
I'm gonna go with Carolina. They're more on an upward swing right now than Tampa is. There's a lot of youth and excitement and momentum in Carolina. Carolina came off a slight win, right? It was a slim win, but a win nonetheless against Tampa. And Baker Magic has ran out. I'll just say it.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty much gone at
Yeah.
this point. And unless he can find that spark, and start playing smart football again, um, I just I think Carolina's going to do it.
Okay. Jay, who you got? Carolina
I
or
have to,
Tampa?
I have to agree with Justin. I definitely think Carolina's going to pull it through. Baker's just not baking. You know, Baker's struggling. And Carolina, like you said, Bryce Young, they have that
Football's not trying to sell you food. Oh, I'm just kidding.
exactly. Yeah, Carolina's going to pull it through. They're gonna take that.
Okay.
I'm going with the young guns.
Um, yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna go with Carolina, and I say unfortunately because I have a bet with a buddy at work, Tori Ziska. We bet at the beginning of the season that Tampa would win the South, and then when the season started, they were running away with it, and I was so confident, and I was talking smack about, like, yeah, I like my wings hot, and now it looks like I might owe him wings. But I'm gonna take Carolina. Like Justin said, they're on a upward trajectory right now, and Tampa's just kind of stumbling through the season, right? It's kind of one of those seasons where they can't get out of their own way, and like you said, Baker's not cooking, the magic's not there. Uh, I'm actually even gonna go take a step further, and I told Justin this, I believe, earlier this week. I'm picking the Carolina Panthers to upset the Seattle Seahawks at home this weekend. Carolina's at home. I'm going to pick Carolina to beat Seattle.
That'll be great.
Yep, it would be. So yeah, that I don't know if Carolina win a playoff game, but I think I'm going to take them this week. Oh, mainly because my 49ers fandom wants them to win more than anything. But yeah, I got Carolina as well. I think Tampa's also too banged up, right?
Right.
And Bucky Irving, didn't he come back? Um, Definitely not the same player. Obviously, he's coming off injuries and things, but not the same player that we saw last year at the end of the year and what we expected to see this year. Hopefully, he can get healthy in the offseason and come back next year and look like he did as a rookie. But yeah, I'm going to go with Carolina. Now, I will say this: if it comes down to Week 18, which it very well could, because Tampa's got Miami next week, and I feel like of the two, Tampa's probably more likely to win than Carolina is this week. If it comes down to week 18, comes down to that fourth quarter, all bets are off. I might just have to say, you know what? Maybe Baker pulls out the magic one last time in the regular season. So it's gonna be fun. It's
Maybe.
gonna be fun. Hopefully we get a week 18 where there are a couple of winning in scenarios, but it's likely that we will only get one at best. So, all right. So we're all on Pittsburgh and we're all on Carolina. That means Baltimore's going to come back and win, and Tampa's going to win. If you've been paying attention to anything at all this season. So, before we jump into our game picks, really quick, Justin, it's
Yep.
your time of the year. Unfortunately, we both lost in the family playoffs this week, in the semifinals. I don't know how you're doing in your other leagues. I know in my other league, I didn't even make the playoffs. But in the family league, we both lost in the semifinals. So sucks for us. Boo Julia, boo Daniel.
Yeah.
Um, but give us a couple of fantasy busters and boomers for championship week for fantasy players.
Well, I'm in one championship in one league, which is this my second year in a row. I'm going for two-time champ, so I'm going for the repeat.
Nice.
I don't have this player on my team, but if I did, I'd be starting him this week, and that's Chase Brown for the Bengals against the Cardinals.
Ooh.
I'm expecting Chase Brown to go off this week against the Cardinals. And listen, the offense for Cincinnati, they kind of sputtered. Burrow didn't play his best ball recently, and he even said it. He's like, oh, no team in the NFL would have won, with the way I played.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna just come out, be excited. They have nothing really to lose. And the Cardinals, man, they give up a ton on the ground to opposing running backs. And Chase Brown, he's a dual threat. He
Yeah.
carries the ball and he catches the ball out of the backfield. So give me some Chase Brown. Give me some Chase Brown. So I'm
Okay.
gonna give you just one and one. I'm gonna give you one. That's my one
All
boomer,
right.
right?
Okay.
And then the bust. This is gonna surprise some people. My bust. And you can't sit him. You can't sit him. So this is why it's really hard. Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan
Ooh.
Taylor. And here's the reason
Against
why.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, against Jacksonville, a really good defense, right? But Colts are on a 5-game losing streak. During that 5-game losing streak, Jonathan Taylor has not hit 90 rushing yards in a single game. In fact,
Yeah.
he only has 2 total touchdowns during that 5-game losing streak. And he's averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry during that 5-game losing streak. So to me, that says he's against good defense. I'm gonna take him. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, you know,
Okay.
but I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
go
can't
with
sit them,
JT.
right?
You,
You can't sit them
you can't sit him, right? You can't sit him.
because you never know.
But don't,
You
if
know.
he's projected to get 18, don't expect 18. That's all I'm saying. Because
Yeah.
everyone league
Okay.
scores a little
Yeah.
differently. Is that
Yeah.
I'm just saying, whatever his
Okay.
projection is, don't. I hope you don't need him to
Expect a
go over
little
that.
less. All right.
Yes,
All right. All right. You know what? I like it. The Arizona Cincinnati game. I think there could be a few boomers in that game. I expect
probably.
a lot of points in that game. Brissett, say what you will about him, but the guy in fantasy puts up numbers for the most part. Last week he had a rough week, but before that, he's put up numbers every week, throwing the ball all over the field because they have to. McBride, before last week, again, he was killing it as well. Cincinnati's defense, we know, is not that good. So I expect a lot of
Wilson,
points. Could be a couple boomers in that one. What's that? Oh,
Wilson,
yep,
yeah.
Wilson as well. Yep, Wilson as well. And then obviously you got Chase out there on the edge against that Arizona defense. So yeah, that one should be a fun game. Okay, I like it. Jake, how'd your fantasy season end up?
Just like my Raider season.
Uh,
Miserable.
Bummer.
You know, unfortunately,
I know in the family league you didn't make it to the championship. You made it to the fantasy loser bowl, and then your team blew up, and you couldn't even win the loser crocs. That's how bad your team was.
sure
They
couldn't. They
they
were so
didn't even
bad.
they couldn't even lose when they were supposed to.
No, they couldn't. And then I'm in the playoffs though in my dynasty league, so I'll take that.
There you go.
All right, I like it. So I don't know if you probably can't see because you're not on the stream, but Julia is watching the stream. She said she needs Chase Brown to boom because Gibbs shit the bed. Because Gibbs did have a
Count
rough
on
day
it.
yesterday for sure. Um,
Say
and then on Jonathan,
don't leave Brown on the bench. That's all I'm saying. If you had
then
even put him in a flex at the very least, man.
there you go. I was going to say really quick, and we're going to jump to our game picks and then get you guys out of here. Back to the Jonathan Taylor really quick. He struggled against the Niners as well, and the Niners' deep run defense has been pretty soft all season. So that just goes to show how much that running game has fallen off since the beginning and middle part of the season.
Right.
So, all right, let's jump over to our game picks. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games here. Four of them are kind of important games, and then one of them is a big, big, big game, especially for Jason. So, let's start with the first one. The Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers, playoff bound teams, playing in LA. Who you got, Justin?
I I'm torn on this one so bad, honestly. But I'm gonna trust the Texans defense more than I trust the Chargers offense. The Texans offense, though,
Okay.
they're a little
They're
shaky.
struggling up and
They
down.
they're struggling, and so, but I'm gonna give them the nod because their defense is that good. They are gonna be on the road, but
Yep.
Herbert doesn't do well under duress, in my opinion. And that's exactly what he's gonna get with this Houston defense. They're gonna put a lot of pressure on him. They're probably gonna force him into a couple of bad throws, maybe a interception or a strip sack, and I think that'll be the difference in the game. So give me
Okay.
Houston 26-23. If it
All
if it's
right.
even that
All
many
right.
points. That's probably a lot, to be honest. I'm being generous.
All right. All right.
Be shocked
Jason,
if
who you
Houston
got?
puts up 26.
I also got Houston. They're because that defense, and also because Herbert, like he said, he can't play under duress. He's going to have two things pressuring him: the Texas defense plus playoff positioning. They're going to pressure him, so he's gonna fail the test. They're going to lose that game. Plus, I hate the Chargers, so go Texans there. Uh, yeah, it's
All
going to be
right.
21-18.
All right. As a Raiders fan, I can understand how you don't like the Chargers. Well, I'm gonna go against both of you. I'm gonna take the Chargers. Um, I think they
Figured.
pull out a close game. I think their offense figures out a way to put just enough points on the board. I don't think they boat race them or anything. I don't think they score a ton of points, but I think they put just enough on the board to beat Houston in a close game. I'm gonna go 19-16 Los Angeles Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh stole their
19-16.
signs. Yep. Harbaugh stole the signs. All right. I already gave my pick on this one, and it's mainly because of my 49er fandom. And I just think that Carolina is one of those teams that they're just young and they don't realize they're not supposed to be that good. So the second game, I got Carolina, Seattle versus Carolina. This one we'll start with Jason. Who you got? Sea
So
Chickens or the Panthers?
I got Seattle to win this one. Carolina's still pretty
I
young.
figured.
Seattle's got a little more experience behind them, and it's a better record. They're playing also for playoff positioning.
They are.
So I think that whereas Carolina's probably, they're playing to win their division, but I feel like they probably feel like they got a hold of it, uh, just because
Yeah.
they just beat the Buccaneers. Their only competitor really right now in the division. So uh,
Right.
Seattle's
Okay.
on their way to win, and that's going to be 28-24.
Okay. All right. Don't forget Carolina beat the Rams.
It's true.
That's when the
Seattle
Rams
beat
were
the Rams.
rolling too. So yeah, Seattle beat the Rams too. I agree. But I'm just saying. Don't count Carolina out. That's all I'm saying. They're like I said, they're one of those teams that don't realize they're not supposed to win the games like that, and they just go out there and they end up winning them. So, Justin, who you got?
Oh, I'm going with Seattle.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I mean, just I get it. Yeah, Seattle is one of the, or sorry, Carolina is one of those teams. They don't know, they're supposed to lose the games, but sometimes they don't know when they're supposed to take advantage of an opportunity. Just like a few weeks ago, they took the lead on Tampa, had an opportunity to build on that lead, lost. So now obviously they beat Tampa this week. So they have another opportunity now,
maybe they
albeit
learned
against
their
a much
lesson.
better team, Seattle. So,
Yeah,
it's an opportunity for them, but
it
I don't
is.
think they're that team that knows how to take advantage of those opportunities quite yet. I'm gonna go with Seattle, and
Okay,
as much as I do want Carolina to win,
could be a trap game for Seattle.
could be, could be.
They could. I mean, because it all sets up if they win and the 49ers win, week 18's for the number one seed, and I'm just saying it could be a trap game for both teams. There's
Yeah,
three teams that involved in those two games that could be a trap game for. Chicago could be looking at a trap game too. So, all right, I got Carolina. You two are on Seattle. We're going to skip over the Niners and Chicago really quick and go to Philadelphia and Buffalo. We'll start with Justin on this one. Two playoff bound teams, two teams that at the beginning of the season everyone thought would be Super Bowl contenders, and lo and behold, here they are in the playoffs. They've shown flashes of being really, really good at times, and they've both shown signs of, man, when they're bad, they're really, really bad. So, who you have in this one, and maybe why, or a score?
I'm gonna I'm gonna take the Bills. I'm gonna take
Okay.
the Bills. Just they're at home. Um, I think both of these teams have had really similar seasons, high expectations to start the year. Both started off pretty decently, but they have been up and down, very roller coaster like seasons, not
Yeah.
not very consistent like some of the other top teams. But I'm gonna trust the Bills offense a little bit more in this game than I trust the Eagles offense. It's crazy too because the Eagles have more playmakers on offense, but I don't I don't trust their coaching right now,
Okay.
and that's kind of what it boils down for me. So I'm gonna go with Josh Allen and the Bills. Give me
All right.
31-27.
All right.
Decent amount of
I like
points.
it. Jay?
Well, let me start this off. Well, first, I value my life. So I'm gonna, I like breathing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick the Eagles on this one. That's for one reason. The other reason is I just really feel like I really feel like they can pull it off. And we could be looking at a possible a Super Bowl preview at the same
Possible.
time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Philly's kind of been there. They've done that. They've won the big game. They got pretty much the same roster. Long as AJ Brown doesn't get over 100 yards receiving, they can win the game. Because if you notice, when they go to AJ the whole time, they lose. They focus on him. Pass
Yeah.
that
Except for
ball
last
down,
week.
Goder.
Yeah,
Except for that,
last week they fed him a lot. Yeah,
they bet him a lot, but he didn't go over 100. So as long
yeah.
as he doesn't,
So
doesn't cook 100, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. But if they feed that tight end of theirs, they're going to win that ball game. I'd
yeah.
say
Okay.
34-31.
All right. All right. All right. So I'm gonna break the tie. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna go main reason, like Justin said, they're at home. I think that's just gonna be just got the home field advantage. I think it's gonna
That's
be a
it.
close game. It's gonna be a nice, exciting game for us to watch. Hopefully everybody escapes injury free, so it doesn't impact any playoffs or anything like that. Buffalo, although it's a slim outside shot, they still have an outside shot at winning the AFC East. So, I think they probably needed probably a little more. Um, Philly got they already obviously won the East because Dallas lost the other day, I believe, or whenever it was they lost. So I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I'm gonna go with a higher score like Jason. I'm gonna go with let's go 30, same score, 34-31. Buffalo Bills. So I'm gonna flip it. I'm
Boom.
gonna flip it on
All right.
you. So yeah. All right. And then let's talk about the big game of the week for the battle for the number one pick between the New York Giants and the Las Vegas Raiders. So, Jay, we're going to start with you on this one, mainly because I just want to pour some salt on the wound. I'm just kidding. Um, who wins this game? Who comes away with the number one seed? And does it really matter if you get the number one pick? I mean, that's what I meant, not the number one seed, the number one pick.
Honestly, if it's between the Giants and the Raiders to get the number one pick, it doesn't matter who has number one or number two because
Okay.
the Giants aren't taking a quarterback.
No.
They got Jackson Dart. They're going to roll forward with him, and the Raiders can still get their guy at number two. As long as the Giants fall in that number one
Okay.
seed. So, but since Max Crosby left the building, I say we lose that game. I pick the Giants to win. A low scoring affair. 17,
Yeah.
17, 10. And yeah, I just got the Giants to win that game.
Okay.
Not because I want the number one pick, because again, it doesn't matter. Just because, like I said, Max Crosby left the building. When Crosby leaves the building, so does a lot of momentum.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Justin, I know you probably don't care about this game, but
It
who
matters.
wins?
No, well, I'm
It
gonna
does
take
matter.
the Giants, but I think it matters. What position they wind up pick wise. You know, not necessarily because like Jason was saying, they'll get to land their player either way, right? But it's like if you
Maybe.
have, huh? Right? They should be able
Maybe.
to.
Right? Well, yeah, because you got to think about it, right? If you don't get that number one pick, what if the Giants trade it to a team that does
Exactly.
need the quarterback you get? So
Exactly. So there's
yeah,
for the Giants, like you just said, for the Giants, they want to get it because yeah, they don't need their quarterback, but trade assets, right? For the Raiders, they need to get it because they don't want to risk the Giants selling it off, to a team
yeah,
um that will move up to pick a quarterback that the Raiders might pick. So I think it matters more than you might think. But I get where you're coming from. Like, the
yeah,
probability of that kind of trade happening is probably not as great as we think, but it matters. It matters a little bit.
yeah.
But I'm gonna take
Quarterback.
the Giants actually to win the game just because I like their QB situation better.
Okay.
There's two
All right.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's about it.
Yep.
Not a lot of QBs in this draft that people are super excited about. So, and obviously, you never know because it's all a crapshoot, right? It just depends on what guy ends up in the right situation. But I think you want to position yourself in the best way possible. I agree with Jason. I think if Max Crosby doesn't play, their chances of winning diminish greatly just because of what impact he makes on defense. And like Justin said, the quarterback situation, although Jackson Dart is reckless at times and puts himself in harm's way, um, I like their quarterback situation better than what the Raiders got going on right now, right? They just haven't really shown anything. If I could take you back 4 months ago, Jay, after you guys beat the Patriots in week one, and then if I would have told you right after that game, hey, so you're only going to win one more the rest of the season, and you're going to be playing the Giants in week 17 to find out who wins the number one pick. You probably would have been like, nah, there's no way. But unfortunately, that's what happened. So
Here we are.
here we are.
I would have laughed hysterically
Sucks.
and said there was no way. I,
Yeah, yeah.
never thought we were a Super Bowl team, even after that win this season. But I definitely thought we had potential to go to the playoffs. I
Be
also didn't think
competitive at least. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I didn't think the Chiefs would not make the playoffs, and I didn't think the Broncos and the Chargers would be the ones running the gun for us. So the whole season's been a
Yep.
surprise to me.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a weird season for a lot of teams. So, all right. Well, Jake, good luck. Hopefully your team loses and you get that number one pick. Um, I know it hurts for you to hear that, but deep down inside, your fandom wants you to get the best pick possible. Uh, just kidding. All right, let's talk about the Niners. Chicago and Niners. Big game. Niners obviously control their destiny when it comes to the number one seed. They win out, beat Chicago, beat Seattle at home. They don't have to leave Levi Field at all anymore the rest of the season. And hopefully they can ride that all the way to the Super Bowl, where, ironically, if they did make it that far, they would be the road team. Um, Crazy how that works out.
Crazy.
But this is a big game. Chicago still got a chance at the outside shot at the number one seed as well. So it's a big game for them. Um, I think I know who you're picking, but let's start. Well, let's start with Jason, so that way we got an open mind before we jump into the two 49ers fans, and then we'll get out of here. Jay, who you got in the Bears and 49ers game Sunday night?
Honestly, I had to analyze this game hard before I could make a decision. But at the end of the day, I feel like the Niners got a little something more to play for, and they've had a ton of disastrous things happen during their season, and they still found a way to put this record on. Not a Niners fan at all, not a Bears fan, but San Francisco's going to take this game. Caleb Williams is just a little bit younger than Purdy and not as experienced, and plus he's a USC quarterback. But anyways, I really feel like the Niners have it in the bag. They're going to take this game 28-17.
Okay, I like it. I like it. I'd be happy with that. All right, Justin. Do I even need to ask who you got in this game?
No, I'm going with the Niners, and I'm gonna take them 33-28. So I'll go
Okay.
33-28. They showed us something last week against the Colts in the run game, limiting JT to only 49 yards on 16 carries, 2.9 yards per. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they sold out to stop the run because they weren't fearful very much of Philip Rivers beating them. And I don't think that now Philip Rivers obviously had his
He,
throws,
he
right?
started. He was carving us up to start the
He had his
game.
throws,
He was
but I
carving
think
them up.
that's more like say because they were selling out to stop the run and they made their plays when they needed to. Against the Bears, they're not going to have that luxury. So the only thing that really concerns me in this game is can we slow down the Bears run game, which is pretty potent with Swift and Monangai. If we can do that, if we can limit those guys, Caleb Williams does bring more firepower, obviously, than 44-year-old Philip Rivers. Um, but he doesn't put the fear in me that he's going to be the one to beat us. He's had to make some pretty miraculous throws to win a couple of games these last few weeks. If it wasn't for that overtime throw last week, I mean, it
That
was a
was a hell
pretty
of a
throw.
throw,
Don't
though.
get me
Hell of
wrong,
a
it was a
throw and
hell of a
catch. That was for
throw,
sure.
but you don't get too many moments like
You're not
that
going to
and
win every game like that.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to take our Niners. I think the Niners
Okay.
have a big game. Kittle is looking doubtful right now.
Questionable.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
questionable right now. So we'll see. That makes a big difference. Their record is much better when Purdy, CMC, and Kittle play versus when one of those guys misses a game. So yeah, I'm still
Okay.
gonna go. I like our Niners at home. Our
Okay.
fans alone gives us an edge. We're slight favorites
All
too.
right. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna take the Niners. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be possibly a shootout. I agree with you. I think the Niners got to slow down the run game. What I'll say is the difference between last week going against, although Philip Rivers is not as mobile, obviously as Caleb Williams, um, he has tons of experience, tons of more experience than Caleb Williams. He's that, and that was the other thing is like everything that we were doing because our defense is so young, we can't get super creative and exotic. Philip Rivers was like, I know what the hell they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I think they'll be able to throw some things at Caleb Williams that maybe he's not familiar with, and maybe try and confuse him a little bit. That'll help out. But yeah, as long as they slow down that running game, lean on our own running game because they looked really good against the number one rush defense in the league last week. CMC had one of his better games, if not his best game on the ground of the season. So as long as they can do that, Purdy protect the ball like he did last week. I know he had the one interception, but I think the game was probably on its way to being over with at that point. So I'm going to take the Niners as well. I'm going to go with we've been averaging roughly 34 a game. I'm going to go right around there. Let's go 34-28 San Francisco. Got the Niners winning at home. And it sets up the big showdown with Seattle in week 18. Because even if Seattle loses to Carolina, which I hope they do, they still have a shot to come back and beat the Niners and win the West in week 18. So it sets up a big game in week 18. But yeah, we're all on the Niners, so hopefully the curse does not work this week.
No curse. All right.
All right. One last thing, and then I'm going to get us for out of here for sure. I just want to ask you guys, what's up with all these crazy ass wide receivers lately?
Wilding out.
Bro, do not, parents, do not let your kids grow up to be wide receivers. Those motherfuckers are mentally unstable. Okay? You got DK grabbing a fan and looks like he shoved him or punched him. Then you got Puka doing dances he don't even know what they mean and like, okay, get it. I get that part. Then you criticize the referees. They tell you not to like, hey, yo, chill out on that. Then this fool goes and criticizes the referees again after the game, like a jackass. Then you got Brandon Ayuk driving by the Levi Stadium going 115 miles an hour down the highway or down the road. Like, what is wrong with these dudes? What's wrong with them?
The history. This is the history. And Antonio Brown, Henry Ruggs, you know.
Bro, it's crazy, man. Wide receivers, get it together. They pay y'all a lot of money, man. Get it together. Anyways,
For real.
all right, guys, that's all I got. You got anything else?
Got it.
Good.
Cool. All right, I'll get you guys out of here. I appreciate you getting together with me. We will get together again on Wednesday. In the meantime, I hope you have a great week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. And I will talk to you soon. Everyone, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And as always, don't forget, division is a math problem. It should never be a people problem. And please be kind. It is free, even if you are talking to Cowboys fans.